Your mic's on.
Good morning. In accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. Welcome to our new humble abode for a few months. My name is Mary Ann Casson, and I will be chairing today's session. Panel members today are, on the far left, Mr. Marziari, Mr. Schwartz beside me, and Ms. Klein to my right, and online we have Ms. Sankar, and she's on now, yay. Okay, and our Deputy Secretary Treasurer today is Simon Lamb. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Committee of Adjustment public hearings are conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submissions in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. For those participating virtually, when your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons and public bodies are permitted to appeal decisions of the committee. Today, I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is contested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation. When an application is uncontested, the committee may not require a presentation. The committee may ask questions and/or take the matter into committee for a decision. Any presentation or other materials you wish to submit to the committee must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept new materials at the hearing. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers in the hearing room and then those participating through WebEx. Each speaker, including the applicant, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute mark. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has an opportunity to rebut those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. All right. Mr. Secretary Treasurer, do we have, we are dealing with the refund request first? Or would
Do you
like
want to just deal with conflicts?
Oh, yes. Any conflicts this morning? I have a conflict. Number 5, I have a conflict as the applicant is a friend of mine. Any others? No? Okay. Next.
There are no minutes and there are no files to close today.
Okay. So we will, and there's no, there's a deferral.
There is a deferral. It's item number 2 in the AM time period.
Do you recommend we deal with the deferral first or the refund?
Why don't we deal with the refund first?
Okay, let's do that. Do we have the applicant for the refund request?
I believe we'll try and get him on video.
Okay. There's a new person on video. Assume that's who it is.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning. Could we start with your
my-
name and address, please?
Sure, thank you. My name is Brendan Charters from Eurodale Design Build, and we are at 1189 Lawrence Avenue West, Suite 7 in Toronto.
Okay, and go ahead and give us a explanation of your request today.
Sure, thank you. Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'm asking you to do one thing today. This appeal is not about whether a garden suite is permitted. It's not about zoning or planning. It's simply about whether the correct fee was applied. I respectfully submit that it was not. I'm requesting to reclassify the committee fee on this file from the new residential dwelling category to the addition and alterations category and refund the fee difference, $2,654.17. I will summarize this quickly as I can in 3 points. First, this is an addition to an existing building, not a new one. The fee schedule on the application form has 2 categories: additions and alterations to existing buildings for $2,126 and new residential dwellings for $4,781. We are renovating an existing detached garage and adding a second story above it. The foundation, the walls, the footprint, they already exist. That is an addition. It is not new construction. Second, the city's denial, so we did appeal with staff. The city's denial rests on a word that is not in the fee schedule. Staff's position is that the reduced fee only applies to work on the quote-unquote main dwelling. But the fee schedule doesn't say main dwelling. It says quote-unquote existing dwellings. Those are different things, and the difference matters. The property already contains an existing dwelling, and the garage is an accessory structure that's part of it. If the city meant to limit the lower fee to the principal house only, it could have written that, but it didn't. Staff added that restriction in an email. It isn't on the document itself. Third, garden suites are accessory by law. They cannot exist as standalone dwellings. So it's hard to justify charging the same fee for altering an existing accessory building as we would for building an entirely new house from the ground up. Those are different scopes of work, and the fees should reflect that. I'm not asking committee to write new policy. I'm asking you to apply the fee structure as written. If the city intended to charge every garden suite conversion of an existing garage as a new home, the fee schedule should say that. It doesn't. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Do any panel members have questions of the applicant? No? All right, we will take this into committee.
Thank you.
Okay, does anyone want to start the discussion? We have advice from staff on the interpretation of the fee structure. And I understand what the applicant is saying. I'm also understanding that staff, Ms. Sanker, let's go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, so just in terms of the discussion and piggybacking onto what you said, looking at it in an objective standpoint, I would have logically thought that that was sort of an extension of the home. Walls are already built, all of this. However, the interpretation from city staff and planning and all of the other committees of adjustments that operate in the GTA, it's all treated as such as if it is a sort of brand new dwelling. And so, based on that policy interpretation, I'm thinking that we have to honor that because it is consistent policy practice across the city as well. So I'm not sure if anyone else has other viewpoints on that.
Does anyone else want to make a comment? I would agree with your comments, Ms. Sankar.
Madam Chair, I'll make a comment. I am in agreement with Ms. Sankar and the city, what the city has said with the new build, and it is a new build, and I would not support a request for a refund.
All right. Ms. Sanger, would you be willing to make a motion on that?
Sure, and with all due respect with the applicant who did come up and share his time and his thoughts, which we all, took that into consideration. The evidence is really weighing on the fact that this is common policy practice and perhaps not the forum to make those changes if needed. So I have to put forward a motion to deny this refund request.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Ms. Klein, all in favor? Okay, that is carried. The request has been denied.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
All right, you're welcome. Can we just pause for one moment?
Yes.
See if we can get the sound a little louder for us. I think it's projecting that way, but it's not, we can't hear very well.
Oh, okay.
Not sure if it's just one speaker, is it? Maybe if you try turning it sideways, it might.
Yeah. Hold on.
Oh, it's just it's a bit quiet for us. Okay. All right, thank you. We'll carry on and muddle through at this point. All
So,
right.
Madam Chair, do you want to deal with the deferral?
Yes,
now?
please.
So it's item number 2.
Number 2, which is 1648 to 1670 Avenue Road and 405 to 407 Brookdale Avenue. This is an application with a lot of changes, principally to increase the height of an already approved apartment building from 8 to 12 stories. And then there are a number of minor variances for various encroachments and permissions on the actual building and landscaping. So do we have our applicant with us or online? I assume they're online. I'm going to guess we're looking for Mr. Goldberg.
Hello, members.
Oh.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Hello, members of committee and chair. Through you, my name is Clay Jansen, a senior planner with Goldberg Group. My address is 2098 Avenue Road, Toronto, Ontario, M5M4A8. I'm here to request a deferral. I am speaking on behalf of the owners of 1648 Avenue Road. We are in receipt of the urban forestry memo recommending no conditions, the various letters from the community, the ratepayers, Councillor Cole, and the memo from community planning recommending deferral. We've had several discussions with community planning over the last 2 months, and we'd like to continue those discussions. And for that reason, that's why we'll be asking for the deferral.
All right, thank you. Any questions of the applicant? No? All right, we'll take this into, we have a number of people. So is there anybody here on this application, first of all, in the audience? No? You're here. Okay. Would you like to come forward first and just, the applicant's requested a deferral, so that the item would be deferred to a later meeting. So we just want to know if you have any concerns with the deferral. But please come forward. Start with your name and address.
Donna McCandlish, 499 Woburn Avenue, but I'm here actually representing the Upper Avenue Community Association and the 1,000 families that, the over 3,000 households that we represent. I won't go into what I had prepared to speak to.
Right.
I guess I would question, well, I'm not that familiar with the process. If we go through a deferral, are we going to go back and forth one story at a time, or are we going to look seriously at following the guidelines in the Upper Avenue Avenue study?
That would be up to the staff and applicant to deal with. It will
Okay.
go back and forth between staff and the applicant, community planning staff, but what that process is, we don't know. It will eventually come back here,
Okay.
I assume,
Okay.
at some point, and then if it's still not in a state that is satisfactory to you, you're welcome to come back and
Okay,
make
all
your
right.
comments.
Yes, we've had a tremendous amount of support from the community through the various organizations, BPRO, Sarah, ourselves, you know, and alone in our petition, we've got 466 residents, you know, who've come forward, and we've got some fairly strong technical arguments as well, which I wouldn't go into, but
Not now. We'll save that for the next time.
next time. Do we have any?
We
idea?
won't know exactly when that will be. It'll take time for staff and the applicant to meet. And given the summer, it's probably not likely to come back, you know,
Okay.
too soon.
Terrific.
All right, so you have no concern with the deferral. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, in terms of the other people, if anyone is online that is represented by this group, we don't need to hear from you individually, but if there are other people who want to come on and just comment on the request for deferral, please. So do we have other people?
Through you, Madam Chair,
Yes.
Michael Borland has been unmuted.
All right. Mr. Borland?
Yes, I'm appearing on this application. I'm a local resident. I don't oppose the deferral.
Okay, thank you very much.
I do, however, oppose the application and prepared to speak to it if the deferral is denied by the committee.
I understand. Thank you. All right, next.
Jim Sadler has been unmuted.
All right.
Madam Chair, my name is Jim Sadler. I represent the South Armor Heights Residents Association. And we have a number of concerns with the proposal, but we have no issues with the deferral.
Great. Thank you very much. All right. Next.
Oh, hello, I'm Naomi Faulkner. I'm with the Bedford Park Residents Organization, and I'll just echo what the two previous speakers said. We have no problem with the deferral, but we obviously have issues with the development.
Thank you. I understand. All right. Next.
Terry Mills here.
Yes, Mr. Mills?
Yes, okay, I'm the urban planner, land use planner. It's been hired by the resident group, and you have my submission there. And yes, definitely I recommend in favor of a deferral.
All right. Thank you very much. Next.
Hi, it's Robert McKee. I'm representing the Board of Directors of Toronto Standard Condominium Corporation 2877, and we have no issue with the deferral.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Hello,
Yes,
my name is Deborah Satok.
and your address?
I am representing the Retail Board of Directors that on the adjacent property just to the north, known as Condominium Corporation 2958. We represent 6 commercial condominium units immediately north of this property and have raised a number of concerns in our submission. We do support a deferral. It basically supports what we have written in our submission. And I do hope that the applicant will pay attention to some of the issues that have arisen from our submission in terms of the use of 2 dead-end streets and the entrance and exit from this property, as well as the parking situation that will arise. Thank you.
All right, and Ms. Seital, could we just confirm your address?
I am located, our unit is 1702 Avenue Road, but I do represent the board, which spans all of the commercial units through just on the block next to the applicants.
Okay, thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair, for the record, Franz Roset and Doug Higgins are not online. They're registered, but they're not online.
Okay. And looks like one other person. Donna McCandish.
She spoke already. She spoke already.
Oh, sorry. You were in person. Thank you very much. So that is everyone?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Let's take this into committee. Mr. Swartz. Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to defer the application.
You want to just elaborate on why? To allow the applicant to further discuss with community planning their application? Does that make sense?
Yeah, let me, if you want some reasons,
Sorry?
let me just pull up my reasons.
I think it's pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, to allow the applicant to clarify the application, provide any revised plans and updated planning justification and written submissions.
To
So,
further, I
I'm-
think the applicant discussed reviewing it with staff. Staff have asked for a deferral and they are
Okay.
agreeing.
So if you want some reasons, I move that the application be deferred at the applicant's request to permit the applicant to clarify the application, provide revised plans, updated planning justification, and written submissions, if appropriate, in consultation with city staff.
Madam Chair, the applicant did not mention the possibility of revising plans.
No.
I don't want the applicant obligated to do so.
Right. Do we have a?
Instead, if appropriate, okay, look, if you want reasons, I don't think we need to give reasons, do we?
You do.
Well, you do, but the applicant
Needs
stated.
to know, and we need to know when they're going to come back, Mr. Schwartz.
No, there's no opposition. Okay.
Madam Chair helped you, I think, and why don't,
Okay.
Madam Chair, would you mind repeating it again?
Sure, I think it's just to permit the applicant to confer with staff and review the application and all the information associated with the application and come back at a later date. Fair?
I move that the application be deferred at the applicant's request to allow the applicant to consult with planning staff at the city concerning the potential of revising,
I don't think
coming back and.
that's too far. Just stop at what you
Okay,
said.
I'm not going to make the application. Somebody else can make it.
Mr. Marziari.
Staff.
All right.
with
Did we
the
get that?
planning staff, yes.
All right, and a seconder, please. Ms. Klein, all in favor? That is carried. The deferral's been requested. All right, we are back to item 1, I believe. And I will just pull up my information.
Just looking at myself on the cameras.
So what? It's looking good. Oh. This is an application for consent to sever a 15.24 meter lot into two 7.62 meter lots. We have variances for lot frontage And on file, we have a survey, draft R plan, plans, cover letter, presentation material, community planning comments, development engineering comments, forestry memo, a late community planning report, and 5 late letters of objection. Obviously, we have our applicant in front of us. Is there anyone here on this application? 1197 Glencairn? Okay, thank you. You're a resident? Oh, more than one. Okay, thank you. All right, so let us start with an introduction, and then perhaps you can give us a brief presentation.
Absolutely, Madam Chair. Jonathan Minskowski, 301 Keewatin Avenue. Can we bring up the staff report first? I want to just go through the staff report and what the recommendations are. It's quite a unique staff report, and they've given you 3 options: approve, refuse, or defer. So really, they're giving you the choice of what it is. What has arisen is this property on Glencairn backs onto Tychos Drive. Tychos Drive in the OP is a core employment area. Any residential development adjacent to core employment land requires a compatibility report to show the impacts of any negative impacts that might be on the residential as well as on the existing employment lands to the south. I've visited the property. I've started doing the compatibility report. I was actually just retained on Friday. This was a very late request by planning to do the compatibility report. I've already visited this site. I've started. I can confirm there's no type of use that would be offensive to the residential proposal before you today. And I would also note that the compatibility report is only triggered through the planning process of the Committee of Adjustment. If this were to be an as-of-right dwelling, no compatibility report would be required. It's simply because once you enter the planning process of the Committee of Adjustment, you're subject to the full authority of the City of Toronto and the official plan policy that requires this. There are no uses to the south that would offend any type of residential use. They basically range from cabinet makers to marble shops to linen places, the bunk bed house, things like that. There is no use that has any type of stack that comes up that would be giving off any type of chemicals or anything like that. So I could tell you my compatibility report will ultimately conclude that this is compatible with the neighborhood that is there. The reason we do not support the deferral is very simple. If this is deferred, we will be back in 8 weeks. We lose this year's window for construction entirely. Within that 4 weeks, I'm hoping to be able to have the compatibility report in, and if approved today, start to clear off those conditions. So within the planning report that you have, they do offer the standard boilerplate conditions of numbering, draft R plan. The last condition is what would be the compatibility report. So my request of the committee today would be to approve the consent and the minor variances. And I know the minor variances are only for the lot frontage to go from 9 meters to 7.62 meters. The lot area is as per the zoning bylaw. So my request would be to approve it based upon this. Now, that condition is fairly similar to the standard archaeological condition that still has to go and be filed with the ministry for approval. So really, what my request means is that hopefully, if approved, construction can start today. The house is run down, it is dilapidated, it is vacant. So what that would do would get rental units going. These are family-style rental units that are proposed in each of the dwellings. Now, I want to just quickly go to the survey, if we could quickly, just to set a little bit of context of the property before we get into a quick little lot study. If we just zoom in, the dwelling today essentially sits on half of the property. The proposal essentially is to add a house next to it, but create setbacks that are zoning bylaw compliant to the east and the west. If we actually look at the survey, the western part of the dwelling is almost on the property line. That will now be shifted, okay? In terms of the appropriateness of the development, what I would say is what you have here is 3,000 square feet in just the dwelling alone that is above grade, that does not require one single variance for length, depth, height, anything. The house is entirely compliant, as is the proposed garden suite. So that appropriateness of being able to provide 3 units in 3,000 square feet with 1 3-bedroom and 2 2-bedroom units, in my opinion, is advantageous. If we could go to the support material very briefly. And also, I also would note the staff report does not have any objection to the actual proposal itself in terms of the proposed frontage. The staff report just deals with the compatibility report and getting that done. So if we just go down one more, yes, if we could just zoom in, along the stretch of Glen Cairn, there's a variety of lot frontages. The request before you today is a reduction of 1.38 meters. I read some of the late objections. It's really dealing with massing. But if we go back to what's massed on the site today, we're essentially duplicating the existing massing that's there and putting it next to it. So in terms of how it would fit within the neighborhood, again, that's what's envisioned in the zoning bylaw. And the report also discusses the multiplex that's going there. As we're all aware, those are permitted and encouraged through planning. I'm not going to get a chance, obviously, to go through this, but if you would look on your screen, you can see that this 7.62 meter lot does exist, and what is on the screen there are ones that were recently severed. I'm happy to answer any questions the committee might have.
Thank you. All right. Questions of the applicant? No? All right. Well, let's go to the residents first. And we'll hear from this lady in the front first. Let's start with your name and address, please.
Elizabeth.
I don't think the microphone is on, or...
Is that okay?
No, there's a button.
Okay. Good morning, members of the committee and Madam Chair. My name is Elizabeth Noguera of 1193 Glen Cairn Avenue, and I'm here to respectfully oppose this application. Our neighborhood is not opposed to responsible development. We understand communities evolve and change, and it is part of our growth. However, development must remain balanced with respect to the existing neighborhood. The intent of the zoning bylaw and residents who already live here. In our opinion, this application goes beyond what should be considered a minor variance and will have a lasting impact on the character, density, and livability of the community. While these requests may appear technical on paper, the impact of the neighborhood is much greater. A minor variance should provide responsible flexibility while respecting the intent of the zoning bylaw and the established character of the area. These variances enable a form of development that changes the existing pattern of the neighborhood and creates a level of intensity that is not compatible with surrounding properties. The requested reduction in lot frontage is a significant concern. The reduction is not simply a measurement issue. It is a key element that enables the proposed severance and changes the established lot pattern of the neighborhood. We recognize that the previous severances were reduced lot frontages have been approved by the committee. However, those approvals were different circumstances and primarily maintained by a single-family dwelling pattern. This proposal raises concerns because the reduced frontage may enable a greater level of intensification, including potential multiplex development on smaller lots compared with the existing single-family dwelling fabric of the neighborhood. The surrounding homes have developed with a consistent relationship between lot size, frontage, setback, spacing, and overall scale. Allowing this reduction could move away from the established pattern and create a precedent for future applications seeking similar expectations. One approval can gradually transform the character of the entire neighborhood. This neighborhood has a strong existing character built over many years. The homes, lot sizes, spacing, the residential streetscape create a balanced community and environment. The proposed development introduces a level of density and intensity that is inconsistent with the surrounding area. The question before the committee should not only be, can this development be fit on this property? The more important question is, does the development belong within this neighborhood? We respectfully believe that it does not. The increase in density is one of the greatest concerns. Higher density means more residents, more vehicles, more traffic, more activity, increased parking demand, additional noise, and greater pressure on the existing neighborhood. Should I stop? Continue? Oh, these impacts are not temporary. They are changes surrounding.
Sorry.
Residents that. residents that will experience every day. The existing streets, infrastructure, the neighborhood design were established for a different level of intensity. The residents who live in this property will be the ones carrying the most impact with this decision for years to come. This is an established community with long-term residents, including elderly neighborhoods. A significant increase in density activity creates legitimate concerns regarding traffic safety, pedestrian safety, street congestion, parking availability, noise disruption, and overall quality of life. The concerns of existing residents deserve serious consideration because of the understand daily realities of the neighborhood. This application is not only about one property. Approving these variances could encourage future applications seeking similar expectations. Over time, individual approvals can fundamentally change the character of the entire neighborhood. The purpose of zoning is to ensure that the development is appropriate, compatible, and respectful of the surrounding community. We respectfully submit that these variances do not maintain the established character of the area, do not reflect the existing lot pattern and scale of development, create an inappropriate increase in density, are not minor in their overall impact, do not respect appropriate development for this location. Member of the committee and Madam Chair, we are not opposed to responsible development. We are simply asking for development that respects the community that already exists. This application represents a significant change in density, lot pattern, and neighborhood character.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions of the resident? No? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I apologize. I usually start these applications for multiplexes with a bit of an explanation that council approved the ability for multiplexes and garden suites to be on almost any lot in the city. So we are not considering the suitability of the type of use in this case. We are just looking at the variances. And in this case, the only variance before us is for lot frontage. So I just want to make that clear. And the city, as part of the process to approve multiplexes in neighborhoods, was to look at the servicing capacity of the neighborhoods as well in terms of water, garbage, traffic. And so those items are not part of what the committee looks at in terms of the applications. So I just want to make that clear. Let's hear from the next person who's here on this. There's someone in the back there. Oh, sorry. Oh, he's the owner. Never mind. All right. Do we have people online for this item?
Through you, Madam Chair, there were some people registered in person to speak. I don't know if they still want to speak, like Manuel da Costa. Are you going to speak or no? Oh, okay. And Manuel Alves as well. Are you going to speak? No. Okay. So we have one speaker online.
Okay.
Kathy Medeiros. Let me.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we are.
Hi, sorry about that. I wasn't sure. So this kind of changes things because I did have something written out, and just from your explanation, it's very similar to what the previous speaker spoke about in terms of whether this type of proposal is suitable for the neighborhood. I think when looking at, I know the previous, the planner is looking at other projects that have been severed. I think the biggest thing is that when looking at zoning bylaw requirements, a minimum frontage of 9 meters, yet the applicant is requesting 7.62 meters. On its own, that may seem like a small difference, but when you combine the smaller lot with the proposed construction of a triplex, a fourplex, plus garden suites, the impact becomes much more significant. And the city zoning requirements exist for a reason. They help ensure that buildings are appropriately sized for their lots, that there are reasonable separations between properties, and that new development fits within the existing neighborhood. When you're looking at changing a single dwelling into potential 9 units, this is not simply a modest increase in housing. It represents a significant increase in residential intensity that is very different from the existing pattern of development on this street. I'm not going to go further because it's a lot of the concerns you said is not something that we can really discuss. But I think the biggest thing is, again, when looking at other properties that have been severed, those properties that have been severed were to create 2 single-family units. And again, we're not opposed. We understand the stance that the city currently has with regards to creating new housing, but I believe it's the amount that we're looking at. 9 units on a lot that size, it just creates a high, the congestion is just a little too high, which poses a lot of concerns for the neighborhood. We're looking at, again, 9 units in a single, where a detached home currently sits. So I would just, I'm asking the committee to take that into consideration when making a decision, the level of intensification that it is going to create on our neighborhood. And I'll just stop there because we can't go any further.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
And just for the record, I don't think we got your name and address stated. So if you could just do that.
Oh, yeah, my apologies. My name is Kathy Medeiros, and I'm the owner of 1176 Glencairn Avenue.
Perfect, thank you. All right, any questions of the resident? Nope, all right. Let's bring Mr. Minkowski back, and perhaps, I think you ran out of time in your presentation, but maybe talk about the other severances
Absolutely.
in the neighborhood and just address whether any of those have been for multiplexes as well.
Absolutely. If we could zoom in on the bottom left corner, I just wanted to address a couple of things about the appropriateness. The Glencairn bus that does run in front of this property offers service to Davisville Station as well as Glencairn Station, which obviously is a PMTSA. We're not near the PMTSA area, but again, growth is expected and encouraged in areas like this. Madam Chair, I don't think you want to hear me go on about SASB 826 again. I think we did enough of that 2 weeks ago, so I'm going to stay away from that. But if we just zoom in on the bottom left, that's where the subject property is located. We can see the lot patterning there that already has seen severances and sees existing lots that are also 7.62. Not all lots were developed as 50 footers through the draft plan of subdivision way back when. There are existing lots that are already that size. And I think the speaker on the phone correctly spoke about the appropriateness of things, of dwellings and separations. Again, what's proposed before you today is zoning bylaw compliant in every aspect. It is a reduction of essentially 1.38 meters in lot frontage. And if we can even just zoom in more, just on the bottom left where that kind of subject block is where the property is. We can see, yes, we can see there, both on the south, it's very blurry, both on the south and the north side, that there are lots through severances as well as that exist that are around the 25 footer or 7.62 meters. I think that's really it, Madam Chair. Oh, you asked about, I'm not sure if they were developed through multiplexes. I don't think they were, but I'm not 100% sure.
All right, thank you. Questions of the applicant? Mr. Swartz.
So I guess I have a question for staff, but we typically don't have staff here to answer questions, right?
Not about the application, no.
Okay, so I'll ask the applicant. There appears to be an error in the staff report, in the ECS report, and I just wondered if anybody's identified it and what we can do with it. May not be significant, but the ECS report refers to file B0010/26NY, and I think we're not dealing with that. I think we're dealing with, if I'm correct, we're dealing with B0008/26NY. So the number appears to be wrong in the ECS report. So I don't know if this is actually, if there was an engineering review of the actual proposal, or if this is being some kind of typo or what we can do with it. Is this a clerical error? Maybe staff can confirm that. Otherwise, we've got to ask the applicant if it's clerical error.
Whereabouts, Mr. Swartz, in the report?
Yeah, it's in the, it's sort of midway down the report.
Madam Chair, I can perhaps help. It looks like a typo. If you look at the beginning of the ECS report, the address,
Subject, right.
the address and the file number is correct on the title block of the ECS report.
The staff are confirming that that it's a typo.
Yeah, so it's up on the screen. B008 1197 Glencairn.
Yeah, I saw it was right in one place, but not in the other. So you're just saying it's a typo. Okay.
And through you, Madam Chair, I think Mr. Swartz, the standard boilerplate ECS conditions are actually included in the community planning staff report also.
Okay. And I guess the, did we, I'm not sure what, you've got a fourplex and a triplex, is that
They're both triplexes
Okay.
with garden suites.
both right? Okay.
Somewhere, I think it said a fourplex.
Oh, sorry. The owner occupied one is the triplex, the other one is a fourplex. Sorry, it is a threeplex and a fourplex.
It is a threeplex?
Triplex and a fourplex,
A
with garden
triplex
suites.
and a fourplex. And which one is going to be the fourplex? Which is going to be the?
The one, if we zoom, the one with the parking is the triplex. The one on the right side that has no parking is the fourplex.
Okay.
Any other questions of the applicant? No? All right, I guess we'll take this into committee.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, who wants to start the conversation? Any comments? Ms. Sankar? I don't think we can hear Ms. Sankar.
Okay, I'm back on.
Okay.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, when I first sort of looked at this application, I thought to myself, well, I think the planning staff is right in terms of expecting a compatibility report from the applicant. I understand the explanations and that, there could be mitigation to that by adding the caveat of making it subject to the staff report, which does have a component that discusses that a compatibility report does need to take place. But then looking at this and going beyond and further with the input that's been provided by the two speakers and the two vested, stakeholders in this, we've got, just one variance each for the two parts that are being divided. At first you would think that it's not that much, although it's a bigger chunk of difference in terms of the lot frontage. But when you hear them talk about this not being the norm for the character of that neighborhood, and when you think of things like intensification, when you think of the fact that other severances were just single home lots, I'm finding myself having a really hard time trying to balance, the city's need for, affordable housing, but at the same time, not at the, impact to those that are in proximity of the area. And I'd really like to hear what my other panel members think of that, because I actually don't see it as minor, even though it's just one variance, and you would think that it's, it's still a major variance. Like it's, I would have, if it was 9 point something or 8 point something, I would even be a little bit more amenable, but I'm not here to redesign the application whatsoever. So I am concerned.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else want to comment? I'm happy to. I was just going to say, I understand where you're coming from in your comments, Ms. Sankar. I think there are a couple of things here. Number one, I think the variance for lot frontage is fairly minor in terms of the overall permissions of the zoning bylaw. And I think that staff, the fact that the proposed triplex and multiplex are meeting all the zoning requirements, sort of, which is almost unheard of, I would say. Before us, generally, we are always looking at variances for it. So the fact that there aren't any variances, the city permits these uses, and staff don't seem to have a concern with the built form or the lot frontage. Their only concern was this mitigation report, which could be made a condition of approval. I am less concerned, although I know that I hear what the residents are saying, and I understand that, you know, from their point of view, this is a big impact. But this is something that the city has permitted. And I can't really see that it being that negative relative to just lot frontage. So that's my point of view.
And to add to that, I think that, you know, you are right. You make a really good point in the sense that, you know, if he did comply with something to do with the lot frontage, let's just say he's still by right able to build, you know, a multiplex on this property, and no one would have the right to deny that. So when you think about the comments on the intensification and the fact that, you know, this hasn't happened much in this streetscape, you know, it would be a moot point because it is permitted by right. And had he met all of the, you know, the requirements, it would still go.
And I also would just mention that it is on a fairly not major street, but it's definitely a street that has transit on it and proximity to subway access. So in terms of intensification, if you're going to put it somewhere, it's, you know, it is generally the kind of area where it would be appropriate from my point of view.
Okay.
Does anyone else want to make a comment, or did Ms. Sinkar, did you want to say anything else at this point?
I can comment.
Okay. Mr. Marziari, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with you. I think this is actually a very good application. We've heard a lot of multiplexes and with severance application, and you know, I think the applicant did a great job not proposing any variances other than the lot frontage, and I think the architect or whoever designed that could fit like this many units without like requesting variances other than the lot frontage. And the lot frontage, I'm looking at the context, is happening like few properties away from this lot, and we're not here to, you know, decide about the number of units, and because it's already approved by the city council. So to me, it's completely supportable application, and if my colleagues don't have any other comment, I'm ready to make a motion.
All right, Mr. Schwartz?
Maybe I just want to make a comment. I mean, I agree with what my colleague has just said, but we did have some good comments by the residents, and maybe, and I'm sympathetic to them in a few senses. When my aunt used to live on that street, I used to go to that street a lot to visit my aunt. I'm familiar with the street, and I can understand where the residents are coming from. Our hands are a little bit tied on the scope of what we can do here. It's all the Planning Act, and I'll leave it at that, really. But you know, I am sympathetic to the residents, but I hear what my colleagues said, and from a planning perspective, we are sort of limited to what we can do when we get an application like this.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, Mr. Marziari, would you?
Sure. So with that being said, I forward a motion to approve this application subject to planning staff conditions. And also I can see
All the conditions.
all the conditions, correct. And also I can see, so approve the severance application, and also approve the minor variances. And I can also see forestry conditions, number 3, for the severance and conditions 1 for both parts 1 and parts 1 and 2. Well, it's an advisory. Let me see.
They did put some conditions in, didn't they? But I think Mr. Mikowski said they're in the planning staff report. They're covered in the.
So to be on the safe side, I can.
Okay.
To be on the safe side, I can include the.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I hate this microphone. Yeah, so if you say it in your motion, we can always double check.
Okay.
Yes. So let's include the engineering as well, conditions.
And maybe we should just say that we think it meets the section 5124 of the Planning Act in terms of the consent.
Consent application,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. Okay. And
minor variances.
minor variances meet the 4 tests.
Meet the 4 tests, correct, for both parts and 1 and 2.
All right. Thank you. And Ms. Sanker, are you seconding that? Thank you very much. All in favor? That is carried unanimously. All right. The application has been approved. Okay. I believe we are on item 3. Which is conveniently 3 Avon Hill Court. This is an application to construct a new 3-story dwelling with a rear covered porch, lower terrace, and a 2nd-story balcony. The variances are for eave projections, height of front and rear exterior main walls, height of north and south side exterior main walls, rear yard setback, south side yard setback, lower terrace encroachment into the rear yard setback, covered porch encroachment into required rear yard setback, north side yard setback, and number of stories. On file, we have a previous decision from April 2021, survey, plans, arborist report, photos, presentation, staff report, forestry report, and 2 letters of support. All right, let's have our applicant. I assume they're online.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Marco Razzolini from Socorro Design, 20 State Bank Road, Unit 202, Mississauga.
Thank you very much. Anyone in the audience on this item? 3 Avon Hill? No, and we have nobody online. So, okay. First of all, do you have any changes to make to the application today?
No, we do not.
All right. All right, and you've seen the planning staff report? Recommending
yes.
that the heights be tied to, and you don't have a concern with that?
No concern, no.
All right, does the committee want a presentation? Anyone? Or any questions?
I don't need a presentation. I just have a question.
Yes.
About the previous application, is there any relationship between this application or previous one, or is it's a brand new application?
So same owners, similar scope, it would be a new application.
Okay.
We were retained at the start of this year to redesign the house.
Okay. All right.
All right, hold on, I just want to make sure I think I had a comment.
I would say largely the design is smaller than the original proposal. GFA is lower, coverage is lower. Many of the variances were eliminated. Some of the new ones are new technical interpretations of the bylaw that likely would have applied to the original one.
And I have a question for you. Do you have any objection to putting a condition that the covered porch remain open, unenclosed on 3 sides?
No issue with that.
Thank you. All right, I don't think we need a presentation, so we can just take this into committee.
Okay, thank you.
Comments, motion? Ms. Sankar.
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair. I think, reading through the application, I do understand what's happening. I believe that a lot of it is self-explanatory. I'm also encouraged by the fact that staff doesn't seem to have any issues except to provide one condition. There's no, community letters of opposition. In fact, there's 2 letters of support. And as such, I do feel okay about the property. If no one else has any comments, I can put forward a motion.
I think the floor is yours.
All right, so I'll therefore put forward a motion to approve this application. I'll make it subject to the comments of the July 17th staff report and the conditions where the heights of all exterior main walls be developed substantially in accordance with the elevations drawings. And I think that's already noted there. I also heard Madam Chair saying that the porch remains unenclosed. I'm not sure if that's a condition that we should sort of put in there, and I see her shaking her head, so
Yes,
I
please.
will add that also as a condition and make it also subject to forestry condition number 2.
All right, thank you. Seconder? Mr. Marziari? All in favor? That is unanimous. Carried. The application has been approved. All right, could we take a quick break? We'll try to take a 5-minute break. We never make 5 minutes, but we'll do our best.
no comment. You want to close it? You don't have a comment, right? Then you close it. I don't know why I just have to say. That's crazy. I just have to say. I can't even say it. But I need to come back. Yeah. The other thing I was thinking about in the case, you know what? Sabrina has had a fair losses, right? And you didn't say, and it's had a fair losses. Like, do like this.
Okay. We're on 4. Sorry, I'm just having trouble with my mouse. All right, number 4 is item number 4, 36 Chieftain Crescent. This is an application to construct a 2-story duplex. Variances are for building length and building depth. On file, we have a survey, plans, applicant's photographs, arborist report, forestry matrix, 10 letters of opposition, and a late community planning report. All right, let's have our applicant. And is there anyone here on this item? No? Let's have our agent.
Hello, good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. My name is Eddie Perez. I'm here on behalf of the owners and the designer of this project. As you can see, we're building a new home with 2 units, and we have the variances are both similar with 25.6 meters. We got a thing from staff that they're okay with the proposal. The majority of the house itself is 19.16 meters. The length comes a lot is in the front where we have that bump out for the entrance. That's where it makes it longer. And the 25-meter portion is just in the 1-story where the deck is at the back and has a balcony above. And as you can see, the neighbor's house itself is a lot longer than ours, which is 27.3 meters, their house. You can see it just above there. So in reality, what we're proposing is very minor in nature, and in my opinion, meets the 4 tests. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Perez, we didn't get your address.
I'm at 537 Rogers Road.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And question, have you seen the community planning report?
Yep, we're okay with it.
We're okay with it. All right. We do have a number of people who are, I believe, online here on this application to speak to it. So if you could give us a brief presentation, maybe.
Yes, like I said, we've been working with planning, and everything that we designed is as per their request. And like I said, if you look at the drawing itself, the only portion is that little piece with the balcony, which is only a 1-story, that's where the main length is, and then where the little bay windows are. And like I said previously, the majority of the house is only 19.17 meters long, so it's under what we're required. It's just the little features that we asked that are over, and the impact on the neighbors are very minimal because it's not close to their property lines. It's away from the property lines. So in my opinion, I feel that it meets the 4 tests, and I agree with the planning department. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's hear from the first resident.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Marziari. I didn't see.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a question from the applicant in regard with that bump. So you're proposing a balcony on 2nd floor, and I can see the area of the balcony is about 25 square meters. So you don't need any variance for that? Because the bylaw allows up to 4 square meter balcony. I'm curious if your examiner missed that or you're compliant with that.
The examiner, as per their thing, we're in compliance with that.
Okay. Well, okay.
All right. Any other questions? Sorry, I forgot to ask. Panel? No? All right, thank you. Let's have our first resident then.
Through you, Madam Chair. Gwen Cole has been unmuted.
All right. Ms. Cole, are you there? Hello? Maybe we should try somebody else.
Udaya Shankar has been unmuted.
Okay. Hello? Maybe while you're trying to track someone down, I will just say for the benefit of the public that the applicant has explained that this building depth and length variances are relative to some bump outs at the front and the back of the house. And the planning staff are recommending that we put a condition on that ties that development to the site plan that's proposed. So it would only be in those areas. It wouldn't be the site, if we were to approve it, the application, it wouldn't be for the entirety of the building that would have that length and depth. So I just wanted to clarify that since I had time. Do we have someone else available?
Hello?
Yes, hello?
Good morning, Madam Chair. My name is Shadi Orani from 3335 Young Street. I am an architect representing Mr. Uday Shankar, the owner of 59 Shire Road, the property adjacent to the subject property.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
So the application before you is described as a duplex. Prior to the City 2023 multiplex zoning amendments, however, this proposal would have been considered a single detached dwelling with a secondary suite. By proceeding as a duplex, the proposal already benefits from more permissive development standards that were introduced for multiplex housing. For example, it is permitted a building length of approximately 19 meters, about 2 meters longer than what would have been permitted if this was a single-family detached dwelling. The purpose of the 2023 multiplex amendments was to allow gentle density for more homes in residential neighborhoods while maintaining the existing built form. The increased development permissions were the trade-off for providing additional housing opportunities, not for increasing the size of what is essentially a detached house. The proposal before you is already taking advantage of those expanded permissions, such as enlarged balcony that you mentioned, or the extra length. Yes, it is seeking to ask for more. I understand that the proposed one-story front foyer projects only 1.98 meters. However, that projection shifts the entire building mass 2 meters further into the lot, increasing the impact on the rear yard of both adjacent properties. Even if we disregard the one-story projections at the front and the rear and the covered deck at the back, the main portion of the building would still measure 19.17 meters in length. And unlike what the presenter said, it is not under what the bylaw requires, it is above. That already exceeds the building length permitted for the surrounding detached homes and legal duplexes, while the front projection continues to push the building farther into the rear yard. The official plan and zoning bylaw amendments permitting multiplexes came into effect only 3 years ago. These are recent planning policies that deliberately introduce more flexible standards and encourage multiplex housing. They are not outdated standards that require routine relief through the Committee of Adjustment. Granting variances beyond these standards undermines the intent of those amendments. Council carefully balanced increased housing permissions with development limits intended to protect neighboring properties and neighborhood character. As a practicing architect, I've seen a growing trend of homes designed and built as duplexes in order to take advantage of the more permissive multiplex standards, but in most cases without seeking minor variance that would have been required to, had the same building been proposed as a single detached dwelling. And of course, each application must be considered on its own merit. However, I believe it is important to distinguish proposals that genuinely advance the city housing objectives from those that are not. In substance, larger detached homes with a secondary suite relying on multiplex permissions. It is also important to note that refusing these two variances would not prevent this property from functioning as a duplex. The proposal already benefits from expanded permissions, as was mentioned today, available to multiplex housing. The request variances simply seeks to increase the building beyond the limits that council recently determined to be appropriate. When council adopted the multiplex standards, it carefully balanced the city housing objectives with neighborhood compatibility. The resulting standards already represent a compromise between increased housing supply and protecting adjacent property. Granting additional variances beyond those upset that balance and create an undesirable precedent. It would weaken the intent of the recently adopted zoning framework and encourage future applications seeking incremental increases beyond standards that were only recently established by council. I respectfully ask the committee to uphold the intent of the official plan and the zoning bylaw by refusing this application. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Does anyone have a question? Mr. Swartz.
So thank you for your presentation. I heard that you were an architect, and so you'd be familiar with staff reports. We got a staff report that effectively is favorable to the application. So I just wanted you to, if you could, please just address your disagreement with the staff report, if any, please.
Thank you. To be very honest, if the committee was only relying on staff report, there wouldn't be any committee. We would submit the application, and respectfully, we would only rely on the staff report to have the approval or not. But I do believe that it is heavily the responsibility of the DEAR committee members to review each application separately to see in its own merit if it really meets the requirement of the council for a duplex, or is this essentially a house that is just using the loosened requirement for a duplex, for a multiplex, to build a larger home. So I understand that the staff only wanted the elevations and the site plan to be attached, but based on my presentation and what I said, I do not believe that it meets the intent of the bylaw and the official plan since 2023 adopted.
All right, any other questions? Just one question for you. Do you have any particular privacy concerns with this application from your client's perspective?
Yes, as I mentioned during my presentation, the building is, because of the 2 meters bump out, that could easily be a projection on the front yard that will trigger another variance. The building is now being pushed back by an extra 2 meters. There's also a large balcony on the top, which would be against the bylaws if this was a single family home. It is far beyond the 4 square meters allowable per bylaw. And as you can see, this property is located on a turn. So its impact on the adjacent properties are multiplied, especially on my client's property. It goes beyond, I help my client, I don't know if you have his letter of objection, but I help my client overlap the 2 site plans. So you can see how this building goes far beyond what is required, what is on the neighboring property. In addition to that, to be honest, we do a lot of multiplexes, a lot of single family homes. I do not know, as Mr. Merziari also mentioned, I don't know why we have an increased oversized terrace on the 2nd floor that did not trigger a variance. I don't know why the lot coverage went beyond 30% because there's no relief for multiplex, and that did not trigger a variance either. So essentially, this is an oversized house being presented as a duplex, and it would impact the neighboring properties. And it would also set the worst precedent for everyone just submitting the drawings as a duplex while they're in reality a single-family home with a legal basement. This
All right.
was not the intent of the bylaw and the council.
All right, thank you. Mr. Marziari.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have two questions from Ms. Arani. So you're representing 59
Five Shire.
Shire Road, correct?
Yes.
And since you're an architect, just want you, I'm sure you're aware of that, since the multiplex bylaw is applied, there's no such thing as secondary suite anymore. Can you confirm that? Because I think you're aware of that.
Yes.
So we don't have any single family plus secondary suite anymore. This is
That
like
is
way
correct.
back. So
That's
any
why in my
application with more than
presentation I
one
mentioned-
unit, it's considered duplex, triplex, fourplex, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
All right, anyone else? No? All right. Mr. Swartz?
I guess I should, I hate to ask the same question, but when Madam Chair asked her question and the response from the applicant, his response from the resident got muted in the middle, and I didn't hear an important part that I think, so, so maybe we should, you said something, I just want to clarify. You said it goes far beyond, then you were cut off. But I understand your main argument, if I'm correct in this, is you're saying it's an oversized unit being presented as a duplex, and it's really a single family home. I don't know if that's what you were saying, but I'm really looking for, I'm looking for specific planning arguments that would refute the planning staff argument that this is in compliance with the 4 tests. That's really what I'm looking for. I don't think I've heard it, so I want to give you one more chance because it cut out. Maybe you were raising them then.
So basically, my only question is this: if members of the committee were reviewing this application as a single-family home, would they still not find the variances aggressive? And I've shown through the site plan the impact that it has on my client's rear yard. If this was a single-family home, there were many elements that would have been different about this. And like I said, I understand that every application has to be reviewed on its own merit, and we do rely on the committee members to make that judgment.
Okay. All right. Anyone else online? Okay, let's hear from the next person.
Do they read the letters before they make their decisions that people have submitted?
I don't know. I'm sure they have.
Hello, we can hear you. This is Ms. Cole? Oh, Pulvers. Okay, Mr. Pulver, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I agree with everything the architect has mentioned, and we sent in a letter. I suspect you've read it over, so I don't want to dwell on it, but we're concerned about the character of the area. There was very little consultation with the property, with the neighbors, and I guess one of the biggest concerns is that seem to be taking advantage a bit of the fact that they're calling it a duplex. And the fact is that is allowing them to build bigger than they would if it was a single family house. I'm also concerned on the neighboring property of trees not being removed, proper grading, and protection perhaps with a fencing And those are all things that we're concerned about.
Okay, thank you. I'm just trying to see, and you're right next door.
Correct.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions of this resident? Nope. All right. Do we have another one?
Oh, hi, it's Gwen Cole speaking, and I'm at 58 Five Shire. And I just echo the previous comments. When I look at the house, it's a big, beautiful house. Looks like a single-family house, and it has a basement apartment. So to my mind, it's a single-family house, and they're trying to get a bigger parcel on the land by saying that it's a duplex. And I just figure in our area, there's all these huge houses going up, and everyone seems to try to get a bigger and bigger house, and then it becomes the norm. And then they rely on the house next door being big so they can build a bigger house.
Okay, yes, I understand. Is that it?
Yes, well, I mean, many people put in a basement with a living room and a bedroom and a kitchen, and to my mind, that's not a duplex. So I don't see why you would condone a bigger house by just saying it's a duplex instead of giving the standards of what you would for a single-family home.
All right. Okay, thank you. Is that it? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Any questions? No? All right, let's have Mr. Perez back.
Hello, again, this is Eddie. Yeah, this house will be used as 2 units. And as per the drawings, we're gonna have to make it meet code for 2 units, which costs more money to do for extra furnace, for materials and fire ratings and all that. So it is gonna be used as 2 units, definitely. And as for the length, like we said earlier, if you put up the main site plan showing the neighbors and that, the neighbor's property, that gentleman, Dr. Wayne Culver was saying.
Yep.
Yeah, his house is 27.30 meters. It's longer than our house. So it meets the character of the area, because you have a house right beside you that is already longer than ours to start with. And we have no variances for soft landscaping. We have no variances for front yard setbacks. We have no coverage variances. We have no rear yard variances. We only have the one, and it's only in particular areas where, as planning noted, and we're okay with going by the site plan. So what before you, in my opinion, is very minor in nature and meets the 4 tests.
Okay.
And as for forestry, we've been dealing with them. We have the arborist sent them the report, and we're going to do everything that forestry asked for.
Okay.
And as for the other question that Mr. Culver said, we will make the grading as per code. When we go in for permits, we have to have a grading plan to present to the building department. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Question, is it only the one portion of the back porch that says covered porch? Is that the only piece intended to be covered? So there's right beside, there's another porch there, but that's not proposed to be covered?
No, that one's not covered, just a little piece in the corner.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. Swartz has a question for you.
For the applicant, and it was raised by the residents, their advisors on the difference between a duplex and so I just want to put the question back to you. I know you said that one of the residents, your depth is not much different than his, but still, if it's a duplex designation, that doesn't relieve you from the satisfying the 4 tests for that length. So whether it's a duplex or a single family home. So I just wanted to know about your view on the rearward projection and the impact that may have on the detached dwellings, and whether the second unit would justify or require that additional mass. If you could just address that specific issue, please.
Well, what do you mean by the additional mass? I didn't get
Well,
that. I didn't get what
the
you said.
length, right? The length and the depth. We still have to decide if that satisfies the Ford test. And even if it's a duplex, still subject to the Ford tests and whether that length is satisfactory. So could you address that issue and whether the second unit explains or requires that additional length?
Well, in my opinion, it does, because we're only over by 16 centimeters on the majority of the house. And we only have the extra circular portions in the back and the front bump out, and the balcony on top, which is just for another feature for the clients. They like that feature. And in my opinion, what we're proposing, the majority of the house is within the bylaw. And the planning, as you know, saw the letter, is agreeing with what we were saying as well. The impact is very minimal on the neighbors. The bump out in the front is far away from both neighbors on both sides. It doesn't affect anybody across the street. And then the other little bump outs, round bump outs in the back, are just features for the dining room table and breakfast nook and stuff. It doesn't impact any of the neighbors as well. It's just in the middle of the house. But has very minimal impact on the neighbors, as you can see. You got both houses on both sides of the property, which are longer than ours. In my opinion, it does meet the Ford test, and I agree with the planning department. Thank you.
One further question I had regarding the covered porch. We've been generally putting conditions that they remain unenclosed. But I'm looking at the floor plan now. And is the one side looks like a fireplace, possibly? Is that a wall? Or in other words, if we were
No,
to put
that's the basement floor plan.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It's a.
The
I
porch
thought I was
itself
on the covered porch.
It's all open. It just
It's a
got a little
kitchenette.
corner feature. It's open on all three sides.
All three sides. Okay. I just want to put a
Open.
condition of that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You're
All right. Ready to take into committee? Yes. All right. We'll take this into committee now. Mr. Marziari?
I can start the discussion. So thank you, Madam Chair. I think I just want to clarify one thing. If it was a single family, the only difference would be variance number 1, that the building length would be 17 meter. With that, the applicant is seeking 25.6, but the variance number 2 wouldn't be changed. So yes, I think the number is a significant increase, but when I'm looking at the site plan, I think it's a sensitive design. Since it's just happening for the bump out portion, for the majority of the house, it's been maintained at 19 meter plus minus. And the bump out is happening actually on the side that the neighbor rear wall is pushed further. So if that balcony was on the other side, I would definitely object that. But I think since it's happening on this side, I don't have that much concern. I still think that the area of the balcony above can be a variance, because I think there is a limit for platforms on second floor up to 4 square meter, but it's up to applicant to clarify that with the examiner. It's not up to us, but overall, I think it's a supportable application to me.
All right, thank you. I think I agree with your comments, and if it were tied to site plan as staff recommended, and I think elevation, as well as the porch remaining unenclosed, I think I could support it as well. Anyone else? Mr. Marziari, would you like to make a motion?
Sure. With that being said, I forward a motion to approve this application subject to planning staff condition that variance number 1 and 2 regarding maximum building length and depth to be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan and west elevation as attached to the report dated July 17th, 2026. Also, I would include the condition that the rear bump out portion to stay unenclosed.
I think it's the rear covered porch.
Rear
What's
cover-
shown on the
Yes.
site plan.
Yes, rear covered porch to stay unenclosed, and also forestry condition number 2, I believe.
Right. Thank you. Seconder, Ms. Klein, all in favor? That is 1, 2, 3, 4 in favor. Opposed? Ms. Sankar is opposed. All right, the application has been approved. Okay, number 5 is 23 Greengate Road. This is the one I have a conflict with, so Ms. Sankar is going to take over.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So for this one application, the current chair does have a conflict in that the applicant is a friend, and so I would chair just this one item for her. So we have item number 5, 23 Greengate Road. And committee members, this is an application to alter the existing 2-story detached dwelling by constructing a core a 1-story rear sunroom addition. There are 2 variances, and they cover the rear yard setback as well as the lot coverage. On file, committee members, we have sort of a survey, a site plan map, some revised site plan drawings, supporting material, and tree photos. I'll just double check with staff members if there's anyone listed to speak to this application.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Sorry, so there is someone speaking to this application, not the applicant, but someone separate from the applicant or agent. Why don't I just ask the agent to actually come on, and then I can.
Through you, Madam Chair, only the applicant is registered to speak for this application.
Okay, and they're online, I'm presuming?
Yes, yes.
Okay, no problem. If you can unmute them, I'll ask the applicant to speak, and if you can state your name and address for the record, please.
Good morning, committee members. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. My name is Angela Scabaris. I'm a partner at Macaulay Shomi Housen Planning Consultants. Address is 520 Industrial Parkway South in Aurora, and the postal code is L4G 6W8.
Okay, thank you so much. Since there's no one else here to speak to this application, I'm just going to turn to committee members to see if they require a presentation. If there's anyone that requires a presentation, if you could sort of raise your hand. Yes, I see Mr. Mazziari.
I don't need a presentation. I just have a quick question from the applicant, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, Mr.
Okay,
Mazziari.
thank you, Madam Chair. So I can see that this addition is just happening, is a partial, so I wonder if the applicant is open to tie it to site plan if you approve it.
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, I don't think that would be an issue.
Okay, so no comment.
Okay, that's great. I will now offer, since we don't require a presentation, Ms. Cabarrus, is there anything else that you'd like to share with committee members before we take this into committee for decision making?
Madam Chair, no, I don't believe so. My client did reach out to neighbors to advise them of the application and did not receive any responses. They had provided my contact information as well, and I did not receive any response back. The application has been reviewed by planning staff and committee staff, so I think as well as zoning. So I think we're all good.
Okay, thank you. Well, that being said, let's take this into committee for decision making. Committee members, I see Mr. Mazziari with his hand up first.
I think
He
yeah,
wants
please.
me to bring the motion, so I'm willing to
Okay,
bring
not
the
a
motion.
problem. Go ahead.
So I'm, my motion is to approve the application tied to the submitted site plans.
Okay, so a motion on the floor for the approving this application and tying it to the site plan.
I can see a date. The latest site plan is dated June 15, 2026. So
The
if you
June
can,
15, 2026 site
Okay.
plan.
With that date, can I have a seconder for this? Seconded by Mr. Mazziari. All members in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, that has been unanimously approved. Your application has been approved. Thank you. And I invite the original Chair Casson, Madam Casson, to come back in to continue chairing.
All right, we have a request for a break, so 5 minutes. 11:56, we will be back. Gonna run a tight ship.
Yeah, the first one was not yeah, this one was mentioned, but it's not the subject to be, but this. That one I said already. The next one, which replace a new, that was a good name. So this document, that would have to be, I don't know if there's like a that's already approved, yeah, there's only the by amendment, right? Yes. So it's part of the, I think it's just I got covered, so that's the amendment. Yeah, because before, is that the same guy that was there, yeah, then the some, not, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And there's that was very easy, and there was just not the person, and the same with planning, that's the time. And then we uploaded like, planning, the review, they send me like, some sort of, finish, and then there is a very guy, and the guys, the menu, and then we got the menu, and then there was a very, the beginning, one thing said we were able to be online, and then they were complaining, we were able to not, so I said online, and I sent to creation, or email, like, how even what, yeah, this environmental planning, like, yeah. Then, but yeah, I mean, like, some people, like, we're trying to do, like, let's say, update the past stages to the system, like, some things, like, trading in the idea, then, yeah, that's big, like, like, that's, I think, an image of the beginning, and then, I was saying that, and then, even the next moment, I would say, private house, because yeah, become like, sometimes they upload it and then you think, how you gonna upload it, yeah, perfect.
We are back. Oh, some cameras. Everybody got their camera on, please. All right, we are on item 6, 22 Kirkton Road. This is to alter the existing detached dwelling by constructing a rear basement addition with a covered porch above and a lower covered patio, as well as a second-story balcony in conjunction with a garden suite in the rear of the property. The variances are for rear canopy setback to the south side lot line and the rear lot line, rear platform setback to the south lot line and rear lot line, soft landscaping, separation from a garden suite, area of a platform above the second story, building depth, building length, lot coverage, and rear yard setback. On file, we have two previous decisions from 2013 and 2021, a survey, plans, revised site plan, landscape plan, photos, community planning report, 3 letters of objection, and late supporting material. We have our applicant.
Yes, I'm going to say good afternoon because it just became 12 o'clock. It's Glenn
apparently.
Rubinoff from Rubinoff Design Group,
Welcome.
2 St. Clair Avenue West, Toronto, Ontario.
Thank you very much. And before we begin, do you have any changes to make to the application today?
Yes, I do. As a result of our staff report, we're going to modify variance number 3 for the proposed rear yard soft landscaping from 38.9% to 45%, as discussed with city planning staff.
All right. Anything else?
No.
Okay. All right. We do have a number of people. Anyone here on this item? No, they must all be online. We do have some people, Mr. Rubinoff, who are here to oppose the application. So if you could start with a brief presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is an application for a rear basement extension and walkout and a covered porch above, with a portion of it being a balcony. The basement extension is the reason for the building length and depth variances in number 6 and number 7. It's taken from in front of the building for the building depth, and it's taken to the back of the basement extension, which is under the deck. So that's the reason for it. So it's a below grade extension for the purposes of building length and depth. Variants 1 and 2 and 9 are related to the porch location relative to the south side yard and the rear yard setback. And they're both deficient by about a foot, just over a foot from the required. So on the south side yard, the requirement is 1.8 meters, and we're at 1.46, and their rear yard setback is required at 10.5 and 10.88, and we're at 10.51. Variance number 3 we've already modified as per the request of planning staff in the report. Variance number 4 is related to the garden suite, which has a zoning certificate. It hasn't been built because my clients are trying to be conscientious of things as they're dealing with their backyard space. So the garden suite to the house complies at grade. It complies with the 7.5 required setback. But because of the basement extension for the house and the walkout, that is where this variance comes into play. It's a technical, I'm not going to say it's just a technical variance, but it explains why it looks so extreme when really it's a below grade factor. It's not a factor that should have impact on the neighbors or the site itself. Let's go through the rest of it. There's a request for an increase in the balcony area on the second floor. That balcony is away from the neighbors. It's kind of in the middle of the property over part of the, over part of the rear covered deck. So it's something where it's, a good distance from the neighbor to the north, and it's also a good distance from the neighbor to the south. 6 and 7, we talked about the length being related to the basement extension. That doesn't apply to above grade, but it does apply to below grade. Number 8 is related to the lot coverage, which again, a heated area in the basement is considered part of coverage. And it was previously approved under the previous application when they built their house. They were approved for 37.29%. but I think they didn't end up building the deck they were planning to build at the time, which was about 10 feet. So in fact, the house itself was, I believe it was quite a bit less than the coverage that was granted at the time. I just wanted to mention that. And the final variance, number 9, is, as I mentioned earlier, it's related to the rear yard setback to the house, which is 10.51 where 10.8 is required. Basically, when I read through the staff report, a lot of the items that they've talked about was at the ground level, the addition does not impact the perceived massing of the main building, and the garden suite provides a required 7.5 meter separation from the main dwelling at the ground. We've made adjustments to the walkout area to allow for more adequate site circulation as per the request of city planning staff as well. So they're satisfied that what we've done is provide 45% landscaping in the back where 50% is required. And overall, the variances, while there are many variances, they're all related to minor adjustments related to the basement extension and also the proximity to the south property line. I'll leave it there because I realize there's other people to speak. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So the revised site plan, does that reflect the changes? Okay.
Yes, it does. So that's attached in the report. Yeah.
And sorry, there's 2 pools proposed on the property?
No.
Oh, okay.
There's what they have in the basement is it's a bit of a soaking tub, but it's not a pool. It's just something that, this is their cottage as well as their house, so to speak, if you want to think of it that way. They're trying to, make use of the space, but it's certainly trying to be thoughtful in terms of impact by keeping the balcony away from the edge and also trying to maintain the landscaping as much as possible. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for the applicant before we start? Mr. Swartz?
So, I guess my question is about the second story. There's a second story balcony, if I'm correct here. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes.
And I guess either if you could address the privacy issues around that, or identify if you would agree to a condition requiring opaque privacy screening.
Yes, no, absolutely. The balcony is located in the middle of the house above the proposed one-story porch that they're proposing. There would be no concerns with having a privacy screen erected. I just should want to point out that it's about, I would say probably about 19, 20 feet away from the property line towards number 24. So, there is a fair distance, but certainly a privacy screen on both sides would be absolutely no problem for my client. Brad.
All right, any other questions? No? All right, let's hear from the residents.
Hello?
Yes, hi.
Hi. Good afternoon, Madam Chair. My name is Marla Rosenfeld. I live at 355 Ridley Boulevard, North York, M3H1L3. I am kitty corner behind this property. And a couple of points. It's my first time ever doing this.
That's
As
okay.
I've watched my neighbors build and build and build. And I've been in this property for 34 years. My couple of concerns, and I appreciate that everybody is entitled to make their homes and their private spaces, but what's not shown, and I wanted to raise to the committee, is that I am surrounded by pools. I have pools to the right of me, to behind me, and there's 2 pools beside these homes on Kirkton. As a result, my backyard gets flooded on a regular basis because of the lack of what I think is grass or green space. I'm not an expert, so I don't know, but I am very concerned at the amount of green space being used in this property. And my second point is, although I'm glad it was raised, is privacy. My second floor bedroom stares at the current balcony that's there right now, and we sit on our deck and we feel like we're sitting ducks. I appreciate privacy screens. So those are my 2 issues. And I'm going to also say as a third, as a committed citizen, no one ever knocked on my door, or no one ever explained this to me. This just arrived on in my mailbox, which I'm grateful for. But there was never any attempt by anybody to come in and acknowledge this is what we're doing and let me explain it to you. So I do take objection to the proposal.
All right, thank you. Any questions? No, all right. Let's have the next person.
Hi there. I'm Seymour Axler at 24 Kirkton. I'm the neighbor to the north. My wife and I submitted the specific letter that we'd like you to consider. The main concerns that we had were, the amount of shade that will be given to our property as a result of the cumulative construction, noting that we have a line of 40-foot maples at the west side of our property, and we will basically be in complete shade. I don't know that there's anything that could be done about that, but we're a bit concerned about that. Privacy is a concern because the balcony will be directly viewing on top of our outdoor pool, etc. And so I know the architect thought there was no issue, but there is, and even the neighbor and I have talked about it. Those are the main concerns. Of course, the build is that they're going to be building basically a foundation almost the entire length of the property, regardless of the garden suite being allowed or not. So there are, concerns are having French drains, as the other neighbor noted, and also concerns about, is that going to cause any foundational damage to the pools, because they're going quite deep right through the whole yard. So that's what we've noted in the letter, and we appreciate your time.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions? No? All right. Next.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Marie-Lee Krinsky has been unmuted.
Okay. Oh,
But I live at 24 Kirkton, so my husband Seymour actually just spoke to you. Thank you. very
yes,
much.
thank you. All right, next.
Yeah, it's Deanna Finer from 18 Kirkton. I'm the property neighboring to the south of them. One of my biggest concerns is the actual construction process. There's very little space between our houses. I don't see how they're going to get the equipment and materials into the backyard to build both a pool and a garden suite. This isn't a small project. It will involve excavation, concrete, heavy materials, and repeated deliveries over several months. I'm worried that in such a narrow space, our landscaping, mature trees, fencing, and other parts of our property could easily be damaged. Even if they intend to be careful, I don't know how this work can realistically be done without impacting neighboring properties. I'm wondering if the applicant has provided a detailed construction access plan. I'd like to understand how they intend to complete this project while protecting our property from damage. I think it's an important consideration before approving this application. It's going to require repeated trips back and forth with equipment and materials. And there's very little space to get back and forth.
All right, thank you. We'll let the applicant address those concerns. Any questions from this resident? No? All right, thank you. Is there one more, two more?
Yes. Hello, through you, Madam Chair, to the rest of the committee. My name's Michael Hart, and I'm an agent on behalf of the residents at 18 Kirkton. You just heard from Ms. Feiner, the owner of the property at 18 Kirkton. I'm here just to reiterate much of the concerns that have been raised from the adjacent neighbors, including Ms. Feiner.
Sir, we only hear from one person per property. So we heard from Ms. Feiner, we hear the concerns. So we can't, sorry. Is there anything additional you want to add that she didn't address?
Yeah, and I won't belabor the point by any means. Just with respect to this application, of course, the letter that was provided was seeking opposition or a deferral of this application. And if the committee chooses to approve this application, we are hopeful that conditions will be added to the approval to ensure that a construction impact mitigation plan that assesses the impacts to neighboring properties from a shoring perspective, a hoarding perspective, is included in that plan, and a tree preservation plan is put together, and a certified arborist is on site to ensure that damages to existing trees are mitigated. As Ms. Feiner mentioned, the privacy is a key consideration. We heard the privacy screen suggestion that was put forward, and we would be in support of that, but we would also be in support of additional vegetation and trees lining the south side of the property to mitigate the overlook and privacy impacts as a result of the overlooking deck. So,
all right.
Yes.
We cannot put conditions like that on an application on an approval. There could be a private agreement between landowners. That's something you do on your own. And in terms of the construction management plan and the grading, those are handled through building permit process. All right. Is there anybody else?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Romipol is not actually online with his name. There's one unidentified name as AP. I can unmute him to verify if he's Romipol.
Okay.
But other than that, that was the last speaker.
Good afternoon. I'm actually here for an afternoon item, so sorry, this is not my item. My
Okay,
apologies.
thank you for confirming. All right, so we've heard from everyone. All right, Mr. Rubinoff, let's come back and address the concerns that have been raised.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I did hear the concerns expressed from each of the adjacent neighbors. For the neighbor behind, the concern about having a pool, another pool, I understand the concerns. But, of course, we have professionals involved who will construct this according to a permit obtained and inspected by the city. So those factors, I do feel like it will be properly managed. She asked about the green space provided. Like I said, we increased the amount of green space to 45% as per the planning department's request. I can't speak to the reason for not having heard from having been spoken with. It's a different street. Sometimes I think the neighbors or homeowners don't realize the impacts on neighbors on other streets. It is primarily work related to the basement of the house, which is a fair distance away. And that's the primary reason for the hearing today, is related to the extension of the basement and the deck above. Certainly privacy, as also echoed by number 18, I think there's a conversation that will happen between the the homeowner and the neighbors with regards to proper access and of course privacy, and certainly offering the privacy screens, to minimize overlook is not a problem. The number 424 expressed concerns related to shade. I believe that's related to the garden suite. Perhaps, again, the garden suite is, it's something that has been approved and from a zoning perspective. It's not before the committee specifically today, but it is something that I understand the concern. There is a 5-foot difference from the property line to the proposed garden suite. And certainly my client would be having conversations with both immediate neighbors to ensure that there's proper notification and addressing any concerns related to impact on foundations or landscaping and such. Yeah, I think that's, I think my client she's been a long-term, in the home now. He's been there for a number of years, and it's intended for him to stay and be a good neighbor. And that's, it's not for any purposes other than that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Questions, Mr. Swartz?
I just want to come back to the privacy screen because I raised it and then a number of the residents followed up on it. So, if we were to approve this application, I just wanted to provide the comment to the applicant that my thought would be a 1.5 meter privacy screen along the full north, south, and west edges of the second-story balcony. Do you have any comment on that?
I think that's a fair point. And I think that would be acceptable to my client. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? No? Let's take it into committee. Anyone want to start the conversation? Bit of an unusual application, I would say, but I think having the comments from planning that they don't have any major concerns with it, subject to the modifications that they requested. I think, and tying it to the actual plans, I think is important. I would want to ensure that the porch remained unenclosed, the rear porch. And other than that, Mr. Marziari.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you mentioned, yes, this is an unusual application. I think, to me, overall, is supportable. I had a bit of concern with variance number 3 that I'm happy that the applicant is increasing the soft landscaping to 45%, which is close to requirement. Also with the variance number 5, the square meter of the second floor terrace, if we include the privacy screen, I think that can address that. I believe the other variances are all triggered by what's happening under ground, and other than that, I don't have any concern. I think it meets the 4 tests to me, and I think tied to the site plan will address, that all this proposals are happening as is and shown it underground. So overall, it's a supportable application to me.
All right. Would you like to make a motion?
Sure. So I forward a motion to approve this application as revise at variance number 3 to be increased to 45%, also subject to the two conditions as noted on July 16, 2026 of the planning staff memo. And any other things to include? An inclusion of the privacy screen.
For the balcony?
So, Mr. Schwartz, you want to have it on 3 sides?
I think so. For the people at the rear and the either side, I think it's important.
So, yeah, I think we should do it on 3 sides. That's why I was very specific in going back to the applicant, because neighbors on all 3 sides did raise the issue.
Yes.
I'm least concerned about the neighbor on the west side because there is some distance, but I think the applicant said that they would do it. Probably aesthetically, it will look fine to do it on all sides. So I would make it subject to the a permanent opaque or frosted translucent privacy screen with a minimum of
1.5 meter
1.5
from the
meters.
finished second floor balcony. And also I would include that the rear platform to stay unenclosed.
Yeah. All right.
The rear but not the balcony.
Not the balcony. Balcony is already open, but the rear platform has a canopy above, so I want to make sure that it stays unenclosed.
And what about the variances 6 and 7? Did you address that? Is that part of the planning staff?
6 and 7?
I think 6
In
and
accordance
7.
with the elevations?
Yeah, I already
Yeah.
include
You
that.
did,
Yeah,
yes.
I already
That's
include
in
the
it.
conditions. Yes.
Yeah. And just to clarify, the privacy screen for the balcony would be on all 3 sides.
All 3
East,
sides,
west.
1.5 meter tall from the finished second floor balcony.
Thank you. Seconder? Mr. Swartz seconds it. All in favor? That is unanimous. The application as amended has been approved. All right, number 7.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 25 Burncrest Drive. Sec. This is an application for a new 2-story detached dwelling with a front covered porch and rear patio. Variances are for height of side exterior main walls, main pedestrian entrance above established grade, lot coverage, front porch setback to east lot line, canopy setback to east lot line, exterior stair width for the front and rear. On file, we have a survey, plans, cover letter, arborist report, urban forestry memo, 1 letter of support and 4 letters of objection. Let's get our applicant. Anyone here on this application? No? Oh, you are? Yes, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, let's have our applicant first.
Hi, my name is Navid Arbabi from Banana Art Design Studio. I'm the agent on behalf of the owner, 2017 Avenue Road, North York.
All right, thanks. And do you have any changes to make to the application today?
No changes.
Okay. All right, we do have a few people who wish to speak to the application. So if you could give us a brief presentation, please.
Definitely. So if you can kindly pull up the cover letter that has been submitted, I would like to go over the variances based on that letter and elevations and site plans that have been marked. So if you can go to the next page, please. This elevation is showing the variances both for the side exterior main wall and the first floor elevation. The red dashed marked line is indicating as of right in terms of height and sidewall heights, and the red and green on the porch are showing what is being measured by the examiner and what is actually being proposed. So our actual proposal is 1.28 meters, but the examiner is going based off of the interior rise of the foyer. In terms of the exterior main wall heights, we are proposing this to be able to contain more water within the roofing system. So the internal gutters are allowing for a slower release because there is a lot of concerns, as you hear from the neighbors, about water management, and there has been previous flooding. So this is one of the key elements that we are proposing to be able to contain rainwater within the roof and slowly release it to minimize the impact. Going to the next page, we are proposing a lot coverage of 35.16%. Now, this coverage is in relation to a lot of the newer and even older proposals in the neighborhood. And we are proposing a building length of 15.28 meters. So we are significantly less than the allowable 17. We are not seeking any variances for length, depth, front yard, rear yard, or side yard setbacks. And the marked site plan in red is showing a previous approval. So this there's a committee approval from 2012 that I don't think is within keeping, and the owner is pretty much not happy with the design. So we're redesigning it, and our building is actually smaller than the previous approval. And we have several other applications that have been approved, built for over 10 years in the area that are within the range or higher. Going to the next page. So we are asking for a front porch and canopy setback of 0.9. This is just to have a continuous foundation line, which allows for better waterproofing and just easier construction. It does not have any impact. The neighbor at 23, which is on this side, has no objections to it. In regards to the rear stair width of 5.01 meters, now this is the staircase that's going from the porch to the backyard, from the patio to the backyard, and it is an open style staircase to allow for light to penetrate into the basement and to allow for water to be collected under rather than to go on the surface of the backyard. And to permit front stair width of 2.31 meters, this is the first portion of the stairs that are adjacent to the porch, and this is just to allow for proper functionality of the stairs, and due to the L-shaped staircase, it's just to allow for easier maneuverability. There have been a lot of concerns about drainage and stormwater management within this neighborhood. We are taking the required steps by engineering, city standards, and we are communicating with engineers and city water management to be able to allocate the best measures. Now, I know these are not related to the committee, but we have been back and forth with neighbors, and we would like to make sure that everything is being done with this proposal to allow for proper surface water management within the property and as per standards of the city. Following the letter on the next pages, page 5 shows similar approvals with coverage, sidewall heights, stair width within just Burncrest. And following that, on the last few pages, we have a list of approvals for similar coverages or higher within 150-meter vicinity of the property.
All right, thank you. Ooh, just finished in time. Questions of the applicant? Mr. Schwartz.
Just a couple of questions. I guess the rear stair structure, can that be reduced?
Potentially, but the impact, because it is the same width as the patio. So reducing the stairs does not reduce the width of the patio in the back. So it could potentially be reduced, but aesthetically and functionality wise, it doesn't change much.
And I guess the second thing is, what about the runoff and groundwater discharge conditions? How is the lot coverage going to impact those?
So groundwater and surface water have to be designed by number one, a surveyor. So a grading plan has to be accompanied by our building permit, which will be reviewed by city engineering. And in terms of recommendations by the city, they are simple recommendations because there are studies within the area that, for instance, an extra sump pump if required, battery-powered sump pump, measures that allow for water to be contained within the property rather than being run off onto the storm system, which do happen a lot. So if the engineering decides that there is too much water within the property, what happens is we have to have an engineer design a trench which allows for the water to penetrate below the water table into the soil and not as a surface runoff onto the street.
So just, Madam Chair, just as a follow-up on those, like if the stair width can be reduced, why do you need 5 meters stairs? What's the functional requirement that justifies that?
This allows for light because it's an open riser stair. It allows for light to penetrate below into the basement and adds to the usability of the space.
Okay, I might have some questions later. But
That's fine. All right, let's maybe hear from the residents and then we can ask other questions. So, sir, you're here on this item, so please come forward and just make sure the microphone's on. And if we could start with your name and address, please.
Good morning, afternoon. I'm Gary Salomon from 26 Burncrest Drive, M5M2Z3. Good morning, Chair, Madam Chair, members of the committee. As I said, my name is Gary, and my wife and I live across the street from the proposed development at 25 Burncrest Drive. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I want to begin by saying that we are not opposed to redevelopment, and we would welcome a well-designed new home on this property. We always try to be reasonable, accommodating, and of course respectful to our neighbours. Our concern is that redevelopment should respect the intent of the existing zoning bylaws, unless there is compelling planning reason to approve several additional variances. In this case, we are concerned that there are several variances that are being requested, including increased lot coverage, reduced setbacks, and an increase in the permitted side exterior wall height. One of my concerns is the effect that the increased building mass will have on the streetscape and on the homes opposite the property. Although the proposal complies with the overall height limit, it seeks permission to increase the permitted side exterior wall by a height from 7.5 meters to 8.71 meters. This is an increase of more than 1 meter. As the homeowners across the street, we believe that additional wall height and mass will affect the openness of the streetscape and reduce the level of privacy that neighboring homes currently enjoy. I believe the roof of the house itself will not occupy much vertical height, which means that the main house, especially the windows facing our house, will be significantly higher than our windows if the proposed variance is allowed, and this will impact on our privacy. Privacy is only one issue before you today, but it is a real impact for those of us who live opposite this development. Stormwater is a great concern for us. At times when rainfall is high, or when the water table in general is high, our basement sump pump, as well as backup sump pump, are required to work extremely hard to expel the rising water. It is clear to me that if additional strain is put on the underground water system, then we will be at higher risk for basement flooding. This is something I do not want to occur, especially given the history of flooding on Burncrest homes. I feel it is important to take proactive measures to prevent possible flooding. When I see proposals that increase lot coverage and reduce the amount of land available to absorb rainfall naturally, I worry about placing additional pressure on a stormwater system that has already demonstrated its limitations. I understand that this application will be reviewed by city engineers. However, as a resident, I ask the committee to also consider the cumulative impact of continued redevelopment on Burncrest Drive. One application by itself may not seem significant, but over time, many similar approvals can gradually increase the burden on an already stressed system, as well as change the streetscape of our road. Older houses, too, may be more vulnerable than new houses to changes to the water system. As stated above, it is always my intention to be as friendly and accommodating as possible, but at the same time, I feel compelled to express my concerns, and I ask for all of us to exercise extreme caution. For those reasons, I respectfully ask that the requested variances be seriously considered or refused. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? No? All right, let's go to our online people. There's no one else here on this one.
Don't put your hand up. Tammy, put her hand up. You're unmuted by the host.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hey, good afternoon, Madam Chairman and the committee. I'm at 27 Burncrest Drive. I'm right beside this property, and we've been there for 30 years. And our concern is also the coverage. We're going to have, as it's been stated in other applications, pools all around us and not a stick of grass. So there's no grass on this property, no grass on the property behind it, and no grass on the property behind me. So where does the water go when we have microbursts, which are more and more common these days because of the changing climate? And where's that water going to go? It's going to go into my property. And my basement is completely finished. We were on Love It or Listed, so we have TV tape of our finished basement. And we would not want to be flooded. And every new build on this street has been flooded. So that we have the Burke Brook water course running underneath Burncrest Drive. So for every cumulative property that you approve, as Gary said, it becomes cumulative. So every new development is putting strain on the water table, and with this brook running underneath, we have water pouring down our street in the summers, and we have ice build up in the winters. So we respectfully don't want another property with no grass and nowhere for the water to run to. We've had water in our backyard before. Fortunately, we've never flooded to this date after 30 years, but that probably isn't going to be the case going forward. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Sorry. Oh, I thought we did. Could we start with your name and address?
Sure. It's Mary Cecilia McCullum and John Shanahan, 27 Burncrest, M5M 2Z2.
Thank you. Any questions for the resident? No? All right. Thank you. Let's go to the next one.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Deborah Yelenko. My husband and I live at 29 Burncrest Drive, very close to the subject property. Burncrest Drive is in a uniquely vulnerable neighborhood because of its naturally high groundwater table, the historic Burke Brook, which runs beneath the street, the documented storm sewer capacity issues, and a long history of basement flooding. Uniquely vulnerable neighborhoods deserve uniquely careful planning decisions. The applicant's representative has described these variances as modest and has pointed to previous approvals on Burncrest Drive as justification for granting another one. We believe those previous approvals demonstrate why greater caution is now required. Every approval permitting increased lot coverage, larger homes, and reduced permeable landscape may appear reasonable when they viewed individually. But those individual approvals stop being minor because their cumulative effect becomes significant. The cumulative effect is what we are seeing on Burncrest today. No single variance created this situation. It's a cumulative effect of many individual approvals over time that has brought us to where we are today. Each new approval may seem modest on its own, but it adds incrementally to the pressures on an already vulnerable neighborhood. The Stantec Area 18 Basement Flooding Environmental Assessment, commissioned by the City of Toronto, recognizes this neighborhood as being particularly susceptible to storm sewer capacity issues and basement flooding. This is the conclusion of the city's own engineering consultants. As redevelopment has occurred, homes have become larger, basements have become deeper, and lot coverage has steadily increased. Those deeper excavations increasingly hit the high groundwater table. As a result, the newer homes rely on continuous sump pumping to keep their basements dry. Water that used to remain underground is now pumped into the municipal storm sewer system, thereby increasing flows and placing additional pressure on an infrastructure system that the city's own engineering study has already identified as vulnerable to capacity constraints and basement flooding. This is why Burncrest is a uniquely vulnerable neighborhood. The architect's submission suggests that stormwater management will be addressed through the city's engineering review during the building permit process. We believe that this distinction is incomplete. Engineering determines whether one individual property can satisfy technical drainage requirements, and it can address drainage on that individual lot. Engineering cannot, however, eliminate the cumulative planning impacts of repeatedly approving increased lot coverage in an area already recognized as vulnerable. I would ask the committee to consider today's climate realities. As across Toronto, we are experiencing increasingly frequent and intense rainfall events. These storms produce extraordinary volumes of water over very short periods of time, creating stormwater surges that existing infrastructure cannot accommodate. None of us can prevent those storms. What we can do is avoid making their impacts worse. The Planning Act requires every application to be considered on its own merits. Burncrest's unique vulnerability is precisely what makes this application different. Uniquely vulnerable neighborhoods deserve uniquely careful planning decisions. For those reasons, we submit that the requested variances do not represent good planning and ask the committee to refuse this application. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions? All right, thank you. I believe that is it for speakers. Is that right? Yes, thank you. All right, let's go back to the applicant. And if you could address the concerns that have been raised.
Thank you. Sorry, I was on mute.
That's okay.
So, thank you, everyone. So all the neighbors we've been in contact with, and letters, we have been trying to address these concerns. But unfortunately, stormwater management and storm in general are pretty much out of the scope of what we are trying to consider today. I would like to go one by one. So number 26, Gary, his concern was about height and window heights. The side wall heights and the proposed main wall heights do not have any relation to the positioning of the windows. So it will not impact the location of where the windows are or the size of the windows. So if the concern is about the location of the individual windows in the front of the property, that variance is not going to impact it whatsoever. As shown in the cover letter and in the elevation, the difference is only a fraction of the little triangle that's sticking out of what would be allowable. And in regards to all the water, so the increased coverage does not add more burden onto the city storm system. We do not have any landscaping variances. Yes, we are proposing a swimming pool, but we meet all the required bylaws. The City of Toronto's water management and storm management department is strictly responsible for things such as storm sewer capacity and whether an area exceeds it. And it is their responsibility to ensure that these things work. So I can't comment on these things. Not being able to develop on a certain property just because there are concerns about water in the city and in the street, I'm not sure how it's related to the application at this point. There are constructions that are going on at number 27 and number 29. They were very concerned about a construction that's happening just 2 doors away at number 33. And the main thing about that construction pumping out water for the past few months is that they are doing a different system where they're underpinning the basement, which they can't waterproof instantly. It's a very different case. It's operated by a different company. I don't know why they are doing it the way they are, but it seems like that is causing a lot of stress and frustration for the neighbors seeing that much water being pumped out. So I'm in no position to say that what is going to happen or how the storms will impact. But what I can ensure the panel is that water will be managed within the property lines and as per the engineering guidelines of the City of Toronto. If the panel feels that the variance for the rear stair width will have an impact on water management or anything, by all means, we can reduce that, and that's not a problem.
All right, thank you. Questions of the applicant? Mr. Swartz.
Sure. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the rear stair. What's the minimum width of the rear stair that you could be comfortable with?
I would say 3 meters would be reasonable.
Okay.
So it would be a 1 meter increase from what we are asking from the bylaw.
I also want to deal with some of the questions raised about the runoff and stormwater management. So you're asking for 5.16 increase in lot coverage, and are you saying that it produces no increase in runoff from that additional lot coverage, or are you saying that the increased runoff can be accommodated through grading and stormwater designed at the building permit stage?
So the way that the roof has been designed, we actually have something called an inlet control device into the scuppers that are being proposed here, which allow for a slow release of water. So if the collection of water on top of the building will be higher by that percentage, between 30 and 35.16, but all the rainwater will be contained similar to condominium buildings in the City of Toronto, where the water has to be contained within the roof and released slowly so there is no overload into the city's system. So yes, there is an impact, but the way we are mitigating it might actually reduce the surface water because it is not allowing the storm water to be released as rapidly as it should.
Just a follow-up. So are you saying you have a drawing, a calculation, or some opinion that supports the conclusion, or is this just a hypothetical?
This is based on the communication we've had with basement flooding program at the City of Toronto. And this is pretty much an engineering review. We do not have studies that support it because it is pretty much like a catch basin or a sump pump system where the technology has been around for decades and it has proved to work. So there is no specific study for this specific lot and this proposal to show, but it is a necessary system that has been implemented for a long time.
Sorry to keep on this, but have you been in discussion with the city about that as well?
The city, we have communicate with them, but since they do not have any opposition, they are not willing to comment on it other than a phone call confirming that there is no issues and the necessary control devices would actually be beneficial because we are proposing them. They do not have any recommendations. They are not going to enforce it, but we are going to enforce it as the applicants, as the architects on.
Okay, I appreciate that. That's good. So now just back to the stair width. You were saying that you could live with 3 meters stair width.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
All right, anything else? No? All right, let's take it into committee. Discussion? I was just going to say that I've heard from the residents. I understand their concerns, and I was a little concerned about the coverage variance in this case because of that. But listening to the applicant, I think they've taken into consideration the management of stormwater on the site, which is their responsibility. And as a few people have mentioned, it's not the committee's area to comment on storm drainage because that is done through the building permit process. But it sounds to me like the applicant has taken thoughtfully considered the issue. Probably will thoughtfully more consider the issue now that he's heard from every resident that spoke about stormwater drainage. So I'm sure they will be attentive to what is required. Otherwise, I don't like the first floor above established grade, but that is something that's very characteristic of these styles of houses. Otherwise, I think the house is not badly designed, and I think that I could support the application. Anyone else?
So I asked a lot of questions, and I wanted to be sure on this stormwater. And so I think that the coverage does impact stormwater. But I'm satisfied that the applicant has plans to deal with that in general terms. Like, we can't be sure of everything. I think we can take into account the fact that the lot coverage will impact stormwater. I don't think it's significant enough to deny this application, and I considered it carefully, as you can see from all my questions. I also think that I'm trying to squeeze every inch of stormwater management out of this. So that's why I was asking about or every centimeter. That's why I was asking about the stairway. So, and the applicant has agreed to reduce the width of the stairway. So I'm prepared to support this with the reduction in the exterior stairway width at 3 meters. And I think otherwise it's a supportable application.
So I think you have to propose to modify the stair width.
Modify
right?
the stair.
Because he hasn't proposed it specifically.
Right. I would. So I'm prepared to bring a motion if you'd like, or if somebody else wants to talk.
Yes, please. I want to add 2 more comments. I think I just want to comment the applicant with the height diagram. I think it's very clear to understand the proposal, and I think it's actually a very better proposal than the requirement. It's nicer look, and also I think it's less impact on the neighbors. I wish I could see that type of diagram for all the application with wall height, main wall height variance. My second comment is, please do not cover your floor plans, especially when you have a variance related to the first floor height. We want to understand what's happening inside. So We've heard that many applicants says that it's because the client asked for that. I don't buy that. I don't think there are many clients in the city that ask for to covering the floor plans. So a friendly advice that not to cover the floor plans, but I agree with all Mr. Schwartz mentioned. I think it's a supportable application, and
So back to Mr. Schwartz for a motion, please.
Okay, so my, see if I can get this right. I'd move that the application be approved as modified with variance number 6 revised to permit a maximum rear exterior stair width of 3 meters and subject to the urban forestry condition and subject to the proposed application being constructed substantially in accordance with the site plan submitted and as revised to show the rear exterior stair having a maximum width of 3 meters.
Are we good, staff? Do we have seconder? Mr. Marciari.
I second that.
All right, all in favor? That is unanimous. The application has been approved. All right.
Thank you very much.
As amended. Okay. Item 8, 49 Timber Lane Drive.
Yes, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, just a minute. I just have to introduce the application first. 49 Timber Lane Drive to construct a new 2-story detached dwelling with an integral garage, rear deck, and a 2nd-story balcony. Variances are for front yard setback, setback to stable top of bank, rear deck setback to stable top of bank, rear deck stairs setback to stable top of bank, height of side exterior main walls combined with the vehicle entrances through the front main wall, area of a platform above the 2nd story. On file, we have a survey, plans, photos, ravine and natural feature protection memo, transportation report, and a TRCA memo. All right, is our applicant still unmuted?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Good afternoon. My name, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Isaac Michaelov of 363 Hillmount Avenue in North York. Postal code is M6B1Y9. And I'm the agent representing Rachel and Shai Seckler, the owners of 49 Timber Lane Drive, regarding this application. We are seeking approval for 7 minor variances to facilitate the construction of a new single-family dwelling. We firmly believe our design represents a balanced approach that respects severe site constraints with maintaining the character of the neighborhood. This is a beautiful but deeply constrained ravine lot where the natural features dictate the placement of the home. So on variance number 414, the front yard setback, this variance is necessary result of that rear yard constraint. We had to move the house forward due to the strict requirements of the TRCA regarding setbacks from the tops of slope in the backyard. This request brings the house forward to our neighbor to the west by negligible 3 inches. The house to the east is set farther back in part because the front lot line is configured to accommodate a cul-de-sac. On the following 3 variances, number 2, 3, and 4, top of slope setbacks, these 3 required variances relate directly to TRCA and their requirements for setbacks from top of slope in the rear. Following several productive meetings with TRCA staff and successive changes to our design drawings, they have agreed to permit our application as you have in front of you. I believe you have a copy of their formal approval letter in your package as well. On the following variance, 418, the sidewall heights, this relates to the sidewalls being 0.58 meters or 1 foot 11 inches higher than the allotted 7.5 meters. This is a minor architectural design requirement for the dwelling with its flat roof and does not impact the massing or scale on the street. Then we have the garage entry variance. I would like to mention that our property is greater than 24 meters and not less, and that the doors are, one is 16 feet and the other is 8 feet wide, which is extremely typical and blends perfectly with the remaining homes on the street, and that these door widths are necessary to accommodate the interior layout of vehicle lifts required by the client. And on the final variance, number 420, the rear balcony area, that relates to a balcony in the back, which exceeds the permitted area by a fractional 1.69 square meters or 18.2 square feet. This is a very minor amount of space that makes an immense difference in the enjoyment of the small balcony on such a beautiful ravine lot. And it will have absolutely no privacy or overlook impacts on anyone, including the neighbor to the west, as a result of a small architectural feature wall acting as a screen on the west side of the deck. Transportation Services and Urban Forestry have both provided preliminary approvals based on the revised drawings. We reduced the width of the driveway as per transportation request. I believe you have the revised drawing. Most importantly, we have 6 formal letters of support from our immediate neighbors on the street who approve of these requested variances. We believe the application meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act, and I thank you for your time, and I'm happy to respond to any questions you might have.
Thank you very much. I don't think we received the letters of support, but that's okay, unless they were late. No.
I see them on the
They weren't in our package, so that's okay. Not a problem. There's nobody objecting. That's what's important, I believe. So any questions of the applicant? No? All right. I think we can just take this into committee. Okay. I think it's a very straightforward application. I don't have any concerns with it. I think it's, I think it meets the 4 tests. It's a different looking building, but I don't think it doesn't have a significant impact on anyone. And I will note that TRCA doesn't have any issues, and neither does Ravine and Natural Feature Protection. So those are my comments. Anyone else? Oh, Ms. Sankar, sorry, you had your hand up?
I did. I was just going to make a motion, but I saw Ms. Klein was going to do it. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
give
I did have my
Sorry.
hand up as well.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I am in favor of this application. I find
Okay.
it meets the 4 tests, and I would be happy to approve and make a motion.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve this application.
I don't think there's
there
any,
aren't any
no conditions.
conditions.
Transportation.
Oh, they have some, yeah, they have some site plan comments, so just make it subject to.
Subject to the site plan,
Yeah.
as per transportation.
Subject to transportation's comments. Okay. Sorry? And Ms. Sankar is seconding that motion.
Okay.
So your hand. Thank you. All in favor? That is carried. The application's been approved.
Thanks.
All right. Number 9, 51 Laird Drive. This is an application to permit private and public recreational facilities as an indoor golf simulator. The variances are for the use to allow private and public recreation facility, as it's not a permitted use in this zone. On file, we have a survey, plans, cover letter, and photographs. We don't have a report, right? There's no planning report. Okay. Let's have our applicant. Is anyone here on this application?
Hi there,
Okay.
this is Albert.
Hello, Albert. Welcome. Could we start with your name and address, please?
Yeah, so my name is Albert Huang and address is 51 Laird Drive.
All right. Thank you very much. I don't think we need a presentation on this. Anyone? Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? All right. I think unless there's something you want to point out, I think your cover letter was self-explanatory and we can just take this into committee.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Does anyone have any issues with this application?
I have no issues with the
No,
application.
I mean, this area is full of,
Things to do.
yeah, it's full of things, actually, you're right.
Yeah.
And there are other similar types of uses around, as the
Absolutely.
applicant pointed out, but there's also other ones in the area. And it seems to be an area in transition, so. All right, someone want to make a motion?
I'll make another one.
Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, I don't see any issues with this, and there's no one really coming forward to guide us on otherwise. So, for that reason, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
All right, thank you very much. Seconder, Mr. Swartz, or did you have a concern?
Maybe just, I'm willing to second it, but I think we may need to limit the scope of this.
It's within the building.
Just to permit private, and I understand the purpose, I understand the variance, and I just wonder if we need to limit it at all to the specific use. Do we need to?
It has to be in an enclosed building, and the building is shown on the site plan.
So
I think,
maybe limited to indoor golf simulator facility is shown in the site plan? Do we say that?
well, if we approve it, if we approve the change in use, it permits the golf simulator, and it's only permitted within the building. They're not asking for any outdoor component to it.
Okay, well, I don't know, staff, do we need to limit this, or is there any?
I'm sorry, I have a motion on the floor, and
Yeah.
I'm, for me,
Okay,
I'm
well-
not able to make changes to that or amend it.
I'm not gonna, and I'm not seconding.
Okay,
I'll second it.
Ms. Klein seconds that, and all in favor of the application? That is 4 in favor, opposed?
I'm in favor.
Okay, 5 in favor, it's unanimous. The application has been approved.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, number 10, 751 Briar Hill. This is to alter the existing 2-story detached dwelling by constructing a 1-story rear addition along the east side. The variance is for east side yard setback. On file, we have a survey, cover letter, plans, photos, and 4 letters of support. And we have our applicant. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Jonathan Pascaris of Pascaris Architecture and Interiors, and I'm representing the owners of the house. We are applying for relief of the side yard setback. The principal argument is that we are matching the existing setback on the attached garage, so we're not really meaningfully changing the relationship between the house and the neighboring property. The program's quite modest. We have several letters of support from the neighbors, including the neighbor directly adjacent who's most affected by the proposal.
On the east side?
On the east side, yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Any questions of the applicant? No? All right. I think we take this into committee. All right. Sorry, Ms. Sankar. Got 2 people waving at
I
me.
saw my colleague, Mr. Mazziari, put his hand up first.
Oh, did he? Okay, Mr. Marziari, you go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Over
I'm
there.
just wondering, you are for this application here?
Yes.
You're the owner?
No, I'm the architect.
Oh, you're the architect?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's a very straightforward application. It's just a reduction in the side yard setback, which is matching the existing. So I forward a motion to approve this application with no condition.
Thank you. And Ms. Sankar, would you like to second that? Thank you very much. All right, all in favor? That is unanimous. Approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, number 11. The last one. of the morning agenda. 165 Glenvale Boulevard. I take it you're here for that one? Okay, good. All right, let's see, where am I? This is an application to legalize and maintain the existing rear yard landscaping. The variances are for rear yard soft landscaping. There are previous decisions from May and August 2017, March 2018, survey, site plan, landscaping plan, photos, supporting material, and a late community planning report. All right, let's have our applicant.
Hi, good afternoon, dear Chair and members of committee. Thank you for having me here. My name is Shirley from Action Home Services. My address is 15 West Wellman Street, L4B1M5. I'm appearing today on behalf of the owner at 165 Glenvale Boulevard. Our application is to seek approval to legalize the existing rear yard landscaping where approximately 15 softscape landscaping is provided instead of the required 50%. We acknowledge that its variance is significant. However, we respect it for the submits that the actual planning impact is limited. The existing condition has been in place for some time, is confined entirely to the rear yard and has not created any measurable adverse impact on the surrounding neighborhood. The owners created this space to provide a safe and functional outdoor area for their family. Their children and friends live nearby, but the street is busy and not safe place for their children to play. The nearby schoolyard has been presented safety concerns, including broken glass. As a result, the backyard has become an important place where the children can safely play together outdoors. We also have reviewed the staff report and would like to respond to their two primary concerns. The first one is about the stormwater management. We understand that one purpose of the soft landscaping required is to support on-site drainage, and we fully appreciate that objective. However, before the rear yard improvements were completed, the property experienced standing water after rainfall. Also, we have submitted the photos documenting those conditions as part of this application. The rear yard improvements, including drainage measures such as installation of weeping tiles together with the existing hard landscaping. We would also note that although the raised deck is considered like hard landscaping for zoning purposes, it is elevated and construction with space deckboards, allowing rainwater to pass through to the ground below rather than function as like a completed impervious surface. We recognize that the concrete pad and interlock increase the amount of hardscape on the property, and we understand city's concern regarding soft landscaping. However, in this particular case, the improvements were designed to respond to property's practical drainage conditions while creating a safe and functional outdoor space for the family. Also, based on the owner's observation, the rear yard improvements have not resulted in any known worsening the drainage condition on the neighbor properties. Secondary about the neighborhood character. However, we recognize that like staff comments on that as well. However, the existing hard landscaping is entirely with the rear yard. It's not visible from the public street. The proposal does not alter the appearance, scale, or massing of the dwelling, nor does it affect the streetscape. We also note that many properties in the surrounding neighborhood contain extensive rear yard hardscaping, including large interlock patios, breeze decks, and swimming pools. So, in our respectable submission, this proposal is compatible with the existing pattern of the backyard development, does not alter the established character of the neighborhood. For these reasons, we respectfully request the committee support for this application. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you. I take it you have spoken to planning staff about it, and And were there recommendations on how to increase the soft landscaping?
I think we speak with the inspector, and I think he's kind of unsatisfied with our drainage system currently have. And I think that addressed to planners' comments on the stormwater management.
Okay. Other questions? Mr. Marziari?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a couple of questions. So my first question is, how long has this rear yard been like this? Because when I'm looking at the photos, it looks very new. And my second question is, how did you end up in the committee? Was that done and then the inspector or one of the neighbors objected that you had to come? Because you can just leave it like that and don't come to the committee. So I just want to understand what was the process and how did you end up in committee?
Yeah, it's the inspector come and say that the only way that send us a letter and say that the only way that we can seek the relief is to come to the committee. And the reason why it has been so long is because our property owner, they had a couple of deaths in the family and they were involved dealing with children and the brother. That's why it takes so long for us to come to the court for this case.
And my first question, answer. So how long has this been like this?
I believe it's over 2 years already.
And the inspector just showed up and pushed you?
No, inspector show up I think at this 2 years, or actually 1 year before, last year. The reason why we are here because our homeowner is very busy dealing with their personal family stuff, but we still want to fix the inspector's comments. That's why we are here today.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
Other questions? Mr. Swartz?
So we had, I think it was application 6 today. We went to 45%. You're supposed to be at 50%. You want to go to 15%. I know it's already there, but it's pretty significant, right? Between 50 now 15. Do you have any plans? Like, let's say we approved it for 45, like we did for the previous application today. Then what would you do? Or do you have any plans to reduce some of the coverage on that?
Yes. We are willing to work with the committee on reasonable measures, such as replacing portion of the existing interlock with the permeable pavers. If you committee consider that it's appropriate.
No, permeable pavers is not considered soft landscape. It has to be soft landscape. Permeable paver is a condition that we can add for the pavers, but soft landscaping is a different thing. So you need to remove the pavers and put soft landscaping, like planting.
Or the concrete.
The interlock with the softscape, if we can meet whatever the committee approve.
All right, any further questions?
Well, I guess just to continue, I mean, our options are to refuse it or to come up with, say, a different number, say 45% rather than 50%. Could you live with 40% or 45%?
I don't really think,
Just giving them the option.
Yeah. I mean, they
That's a
didn't come
question.
forward with
Okay.
a better
Okay.
proposal, so I'm
I
not
don't hear
sure.
any answer.
It's not our job to
Okay.
design and suggest
Okay,
things.
fine.
All right, let's take it into committee. Oh, Ms. Sankard, sorry, did you have a question before?
No,
Oh,
just
okay.
in terms of committee, I just wanted to share my view is that, when she said that it's been there a long time, I thought maybe it would be 15, 20, 25 years. To hear that it was 2 years ago, I do feel that that was ample time for them to know what the right thing to do was. Maybe it triggered a complaint from a neighbor that where the inspector has come down. So for all of those reasons, I don't feel very accepting of those explanations. And so I can't support this application. That's how I feel. I feel that they should have asked for the permission beforehand and maybe had come to committee and we may have relented a little bit. So at this point in time, I can't support this application.
Okay, I just realized I forgot about the gentleman in the audience. Are you the owner? Oh, okay, that's fine. All right, carry on. Anyone else? Want to make a comment or a
I agree
motion?
with my colleague. I'm prepared to make a motion to refuse on that for the same reasons my colleague identified. And I just want to also reiterate that today we had at least a couple of applications relating to stormwater management and coverage, and we've been strict on them. I think we need to be consistent. So I would be prepared to bring a motion to refuse the application since the proposed coverage does not maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw requirement for 50% softmax.
Okay. Seconder, Ms. Sankar. All in favor of that motion? That is unanimous. Okay, the application has been refused. All right. We will now take a lunch break until, what time is it? 1:25, I guess 2:25, we'll take an hour. Okay. Start our 2 o'clock agenda a little later. Okay.